people experience.
All right, Jackson, you got a question?
Yeah, I was just gonna ask. I know since you're in the minors, you don't really see a lot of the big league guys a lot. So was FanFest your first time seeing some of those guys?
Maybe like three or four faces, but for the most part, just walking around the complex during spring training, you bump into a lot of them. A lot of the guys that were there, I at least played a little bit of AAA ball with, or had some type of previous experience with. So it was cool. Being there wasn't as uncomfortable as I thought it would be. Being a new face, obviously up there. So um, knowing some of those guys made it definitely made it a little bit easier to kind of adapt to what was going on.
John?
Yes, you talked about seeing those new faces. You're about to go on to spring training coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Are there any veterans specifically that you're really looking forward to getting to work with and just kind of learn from during your time in Arizona?
Um, Obviously, my big thing and the thing that I think has carried me a little bit through the minor leagues is my defense. So obviously, being able to be around Gordon at least a little bit, is definitely going to be something that I look forward to. Now, I talked to another player previously, and obviously being a new guy and maybe not having a really good relationship with him, I didn't want to show up to spring training and bombard him with questions about how to play the outfield, what he does, the way he practices or trains or anything like that. I think I do a pretty good job of keeping my head down and just paying attention more so rather than asking questions. So, finally, getting the opportunity to either be in the same outfield with him, whether it be on the field or during batting practice, maybe just kind of look over my shoulder or ask if I can hop in with him while he does his work and just instead of asking questions, just watch and kind of take mental notes of the way that he plays his game and how amazing would it be to look back on my career and say I have as many gold gloves as he has. So that's my big thing. I always talk to Rusty about, hey, I want to play center field and I want to play lights out defense. So I think that's kind of going to be that's kind of be my go-to thing is just to pay attention to how he goes about his business.
All right, and in late November, you got some good news being on the 40-man roster. What was that? What were you feeling when you heard that news?
I had to take a moment and just step back and look at everything that's happened over the last couple of years and everything that's happened in my life in baseball. And obviously, it's a proud moment. All the hard work you put in and all the time you put in, it's finally paying off. But the mentality I have is that we're not in the big leagues yet. We haven't had our cup of coffee. We haven't been there and stayed there. We haven't done anything yet. So obviously that news is great and it's one step closer. But the mentality I have on the whole thing is now I want to expand on this. Now I want to put myself in a situation where I can take advantage of them putting me on the 40-man roster and show that I belong in this organization in the big leagues, and from there doing whatever I can to solidify myself.
Jackson?
Yeah. So during some of the interviews at FanFest, Merrifield had a specific uh, point that said like we don't want to wait. We'll be good in a couple of years. We want to be good now. Is that the feeling Matheny has created here? Are you sensing that vibe around the clubhouse?
Now, I haven't necessarily been with Matheny while he was with the big league guys or while he's been introducing himself to them or spending time with them, but the feeling I got from him when I saw him in Northwest last year, everything we did, everything, we worked towards, he was always saying, hey, man, obviously, and it wasn't like he was just selling it to me. He was selling it to our entire team. And him saying, you have the ability, you have everything you need to make it to the big leagues, but put in that extra work, obviously we want you to be in a position where you can help us, but put in that extra work and go out and show that like you want to be good now, you want to be great now, don't wait 4 or 5 years. So hearing him say that definitely makes me feel like going up there and being in that situation or being with that group of guys. As soon as we get the season started, I know they want to hit the ground running, and obviously we want to turn our season around from what it was last year. So you can kind of feel the sense of urgency from everybody in the organization, whether it be our clubbies, whether it be our hitting coaches or outfield coordinators or whoever it might be. You feel a sense of urgency around the organization, and definitely down here at the complex. We got a ton of guys who are coming down here early from home whose report dates may not be for another 5 weeks. But now they're down here and they're hitting in the cages at 8 a.m. And then they go and do, their defensive work. They go out and throw, they lift, and then they, do a bunch of stuff during the day. So you can kind of tell from top to bottom in the organization that everybody is wanting to up their game a little bit. And, upping your game is going to help the person next to you and then the person next to them. So it's kind of just going to be a domino effect. And we know it's going to come from the top down. So seeing these guys talk about, you know, we know we can be great. We know we can be a good team, even though we're young. It's nice to hear because you understand that the people around you want to win too. So it kind of just it really makes you get on board if you aren't on board already.
John?
Yeah, so a lot of the main winning Royals teams of the past, era with the World Series team kind of being branded around the base running and fielding aspect of it. They were incredible at it. And, our farm system has guys like you, Khalil, that have kind of, branded themselves around that. So do you foresee that style of baseball kind of being the type of thing that is going to be very prevalent once the Royals start becoming, higher and higher in the ranks, especially with guys on the big league roster like Merrifield and Mondesi who love to focus on that side of it as well?
I definitely think it does. Since I've been in this organization, we always pride ourselves on defense and we always pride ourselves on base running and taking the extra 90. It's obviously become more evident throughout the years, especially in the guys that we draft and especially in the guys that we pick up that are free agents. Um, you see guys who can play defense. You see guys who can go get a ball in the outfield or who got a lot of range on the infield, but you also see guys who are willing to be a little bit riskier on the base path. Um, I can name guys at every level. Rudy and DJ and Travis Jones is the first baseman, but he went out and took 20 bags himself before he got hurt. We got Cancel and Rivera who are kind of getting risky. You don't expect them to run, but sometimes they'll surprise you and they'll run. And then you get the AAA and guys like Phillips can run. And the thing that surprised me was when I got the AAA, I thought the game would be a little more oriented on not necessarily playing it safe, but playing it smarter. And guys were like, hey, man, try to run again. Like, if you're on in front of me, I want to run. So take off. You know what I mean? So it's it's definitely nice to hear. And then to go up there and to work with Wit and to work with Mondesi and to watch the way that, they pride themselves in taking that 90 feet and then pride themselves in the way they run bases and play defense is nice. And Rusty, I can go on and on forever about Rusty. I love that guy to death. And I text him every day, hey, what's something that I can look at today? And he'll say, have you heard of this person? And I'll say yes or no. And he'll say, okay, well, cool. Go look at a video of him running the bases or go look at a video of him playing defense. So I'm assuming that, when we get to the big leagues, it's going to be some of the same things, just run, but play it smart. But, like it doesn't hurt to be aggressive. It doesn't hurt to, use your legs to the best of your ability. But I think the thing with me is when I get up there, I want to play it smart. I don't want to just run to run, I obviously want to know what situations to run in and what situations to not run in. But I think what helped me a little bit last year when it came to the base running aspect, definitely the organization, is guys just saying, hey, forget it. I'm going to go. If I'm out, I'm out. But obviously, as we saw it last year, it worked out. It worked out for the better for a lot of our guys.
All right. Changing it out of baseball, you're from Kansas, right?
Yeah, Junction City, 2 hours west of Kansas City.
All right. Are you a football fan?
I am a football fan.
Of what team?
The Atlanta Falcons.
What
Oh,
the heck?
nah.
What? Don't talk about my team.
I was expecting a Broncos or a Chiefs answer. I was not expecting
Yeah,
a Falcons
yeah, I was
answer.
prepared for the worst, so I'm fine with the Falcons.
Okay, I was born in Atlanta, Georgia, and I lived there for 9 years. Then I moved to Kansas. So that is my tie to Atlanta, which when people ask me what my favorite team is, I have to say the Royals, obviously. But my other favorite team is the Braves. So whenever people ask me about my sports teams and I say an Atlanta sports team, I get a little side eye, but it's okay. I'm cool with it.
Well, I
But
mean,
you're rooting for Kansas City this weekend.
I hope so.
Oh, 100%.
Okay, we can't lose to.
But part of me loves Kyle Shanahan. So like, what do I do? But I root
What
for
makes you
Kansas
love
City.
Kyle Shanahan? Oh, because he's in Atlanta. That's right.
He was in Atlanta when we went to the
But
Super
hey,
Bowl.
there has to be some love hate there for what he did in the Super Bowl.
Oh, 200%. But I don't think it was him. I don't think it was him.
No, dude, that was just a nightmare. We don't even need to get into that. I'm sure you don't
Yeah,
want
we
to talk
don't.
about
Let's just
that.
Yeah,
We don't
we'll
even
save you.
you've heard enough about that, and we don't even need to talk about that.
yeah, let's just leave it in the past.
Right, right. So you're an active football fan, right? You said you're really into it. You watch Sundays every time, or what? How you doing with that? Do you like play baseball a lot? Like, how do you manage your time to watch football and also be a professional athlete?
Well, obviously football's for the most part during the off season, but
Right.
this year was tough. Me being in the Dominicans, so I could only watch in Spanish, or I would just like opt out and not watch at all because we were playing. So, um, I don't know. This year it was tough for me, but years prior to every Sunday, if the Falcons are playing, I'm watching it. They're not playing, or I can't get that game on TV, then I'm watching whatever local. I'm watching whatever game is closest, whatever regional game there is.
John?
I don't know. You guys got something. You kind of left me out thinking about the football thing. So I need a breather real quick.
Hey,
Okay.
just going into Sunday's game, if you had to bet, who would you say is going to win? Niners or Chiefs?
I think the Chiefs are gonna win by like 3 touchdowns.
Three
Oh
touchdowns.
yes,
Whoa.
that's what I want to
See,
hear.
I've got some of that sense as well. Like,
That team,
I,
it doesn't make any sense. The weapons are unbelievable.
I mean that the speed they got's like the speed we had back in 15 with Dyson and Gore.
That's
So I mean,
unbelievable.
and
They're ridiculous. I mean, you look on the offensive side of the football, and literally anybody can score. So how do you stop that? I mean, how do you stop that? Obviously the 49ers are a good team. Otherwise, it would be the Super Bowl.
yeah,
So,
100%.
since you're an Atlanta fan, does that mean you're a Hawks fan?
Yes, I'm a Hawks fan. Don't say a word. Let's just not say a word.
I was gonna praise you for having Trey, but hey, we won't go there.
Oh, okay, I thought you were about to talk. I thought you
He's
were about to
No,
talk
no, no.
bad about us.
he's the next Steph Curry. No lie.
But you
That's
need
how
to
I
build
see it.
around him.
Oh,
That's what I will say.
They just need some help, but they're getting it.
Some major
you know?
help.
Yeah, we need a more consistent offense.
Yeah.
That's
All
what I
right.
think.
So,
Trey.
with this upcoming spring training and season, you said you were in the Dominican Republic. Would you like to kind of go into a little bit of more detail about what you did this offseason?
So I went down there and played. I signed a contract to go down there and play for 2 months. People in our front office asked me if I was up for the opportunity to go down there and play. And for the most part, I never say no to going anywhere. I had my reservations on it at first, just because I didn't know, what it was like, what it was going to be like. It had been my first time out of the country, but I had guys like Bonifacio, I had guys like Mejia and Ofredi Gomez and all these guys, and I'm just asking, what's the feel like down there? And they all had nothing but positive things to say, which obviously I thought that they would, but for the most part, they all said, "Hey man, it's something that you have to go down yourself. You have to go down there and experience the games, experience the atmosphere, the way they play, the passion they play with, and man, I'll tell you what, if I could recommend going anywhere, I would recommend going to Dominican Winter League baseball game. At least you have to go down there for like a week and just enjoy it. Go to all the different stadiums. It's nuts. They bring in full bottles of alcohol. All you have to do is have a ticket. Basically, you can walk in with whatever you want. I mean, people. The words that I have for you cannot do it justice. Maybe if you see a video, if you go to Cespedes Barbecue on Twitter, he
Yeah.
posts videos all the time. I'm really good friends with him, Jake Mintz and Jordan. They They post these videos, and these videos are unbelievable. I never thought as a minor leaguer, I would see a stadium that packed unless I got to the big leagues. And these people are, I mean, they're air horns. It's unbelievable. Streamers, you have no clue. You have no clue.
Yeah, just looking on your Twitter, all the videos of the wasn't it 2 days with a rain delay? With
Yeah, well, they played a game and they were going into extras. I think the game went 14 innings, but they think they played 13 innings. And the game starts at 7. They played 13 innings. The game finished at 3 a.m. Both teams ran out of pitching, and it started raining. So they banged the game and said they would resume it the next day at 7 o'clock again.
yeah, that's crazy. And then you guys turned out to win that game, and now looking at these videos, there was blue smoke grenades. Everyone's just going crazy. You don't see
Oh
smoke
yeah, the
grenades.
locker room is unbelievable. And
Yeah,
the
you don't
crazy thing
see
is,
smoke grenades in the MLB.
yeah, the crazy thing is they let just anybody in the clubhouse. They don't care. They just let all you have to all a player has to do is like, yeah, I know, yeah, it doesn't matter, let him in, and they'll let you right in the.
All right, Nick. So I already know we're coming in the clubhouse next time, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, whenever you guys want, just pop up. It doesn't matter.
For real. On a real note, though, how would you compare the talent in that league compared to what you faced in the minor leagues so far?
I think I would compare that talent down that. Well, I mean, some of the guys we face on a regular basis are big league arms or big league
Hmm.
players. Like
Hmm.
Carlos Gomez was playing center field down there for them towards the end of the year, and what's the first base? What's the first? Greg Bird, the first baseman
Greg
for the
Bird,
Yankees.
yep, yep.
They get the first baseman for the Yankees was down there. The left fielder for the Padres was down there playing the whole season. Like you get an influx of guys. You get guys who come down there and you're like, no way, dude, I watch you on TV, and here we are sitting
Yeah.
first base next to each other. Like it's a really good experience. But you get anything from low A players to big league players. So the talent you see obviously varies, but
Right.
for the most part, it's pretty consistent. You're gonna see really really good arms out of the pen, and then some maybe not the best arms to start, but like everything that had moves. And they might not throw the hardest, but they locate. So they a lot of people told me that it ends up translating to like right in between the AAA and the big leagues. And I haven't been to the big leagues yet, obviously, but I can definitely say I saw a whole lot of AAA when I was down there.
Yeah. John, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'll go back to you said you were from Junction City. The opportunity to play for the Royals, only 2 hours out of where you spent a lot of time growing up. Did that opportunity really excite you to be able to play like relatively close to an area you're familiar with?
At first, if I'm being perfectly honest with you, not necessarily because I didn't think I would be here. But now, each year we get closer. I went from Idaho and then went to Lexington for a little bit and then went to Wilmington. And I'm like, damn, I'm still far from home. And then I get to Northwest and I'm only like I don't know, what is it, like a 6 hour drive, a 5 hour drive from home. So at that point, I was like, hey, man, we're close. And then we get to Omaha and I'm on 2.5, 3 hour drive from home. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we're on an off day. I could drive home and see my grandparents if I wanted to. So now that obviously we have the opportunity to try and play in Kansas City, and FanFest rolls around, I'm seeing people I haven't seen since I was in like 8th grade, 7th grade, and they're showing up to FanFest to see me for 20 minutes or 30 minutes. So it's super nice to know that I still have that support from the people that I grew up with or the people that I saw when I was growing up, and it's nice to know that I'd be close enough to home to on an off day go visit those people, or if those people ever wanted to come up and visit or come up and watch a game. I haven't played in front of those guys. I haven't played in front of a lot of those people since city league baseball, when I was too small for my hat and too small for my pants.
All right. So I know I only have one more serious question, but then I got a wrap up question to ask you. But my last question is baseball related. With this new owner, new manager, have you got to talk to Matheny and Sherman yet? And if so, what were your first impressions on them? I know you said you've been able to talk to Matheny, but where do you see this team going?
I haven't gotten to sit down and talk to Matheny about this upcoming season, but I think like I said, the feel that I get around the clubhouse, the feel that I get around the spring training facility, it just shows. It feels like guys are from top to bottom. Guys are like, you know what? I want to make a push. I want to be better. I want to push the person next to me. When I first got into the organization, maybe I didn't necessarily feel that. I thought it was more so just like guys and like I'm gonna get mine. Doesn't necessarily matter how everything else works out. And I still see a lot of the same faces, but then you get new guys who come in and coaches and management and leadership and guys in the front office. And it's top to bottom. The feel is different. Everybody's more interactive. There's not necessarily a gap in, there's not necessarily a gap between the guys that are first year players and the guys that have been here for 3, 4, 5, 6 years. And like, it's nothing for me to walk into our cafeteria and see somebody who's been in AAA sitting down and eating with a guy who just got drafted last year. So I think that family feel is really, really starting to hit home, like really starting to come around. And I think guys are understanding that if you're pulling for the person next to you and you're letting the person next to you, like you're letting them know that you care about their well-being on the field, their well-being off the field, you're seeing a lot more friendships. And I think it's a lot easier to go out and play. I think it's a lot easier to go out and do whatever you have to do next to somebody that you're comfortable, with being around. And I know Matheny talked to us in AA. He sat on and talked to us one day and was just talking to us about how, from a front office standpoint, that they want everybody to succeed. They want everybody to push and be better and be greater, because, obviously we haven't had the best couple years recently, but you can feel that everybody wants it to turn around. And I think the big thing that says about our organization is they care for us because now they're taking care of players in ways that it wasn't as evident in 2016 when I got drafted. So now I think this organization isn't just saying that they want to win. Now they're telling players, they're showing players, they're proving it to players that whatever you need to do to succeed, we will help you with, if it's on the field or off the field. So they opened up this camp and they're like, hey, you should come down for a week or you should come down for 2 weeks. Or if you want to stay until spring training starts, come on down. Like, we got somewhere for you to be. We got somewhere for you to stay. There's going to be the other guys that down here working out and getting better. So, like, why not come down here and let's do this whole thing together? So I definitely feel it.
All right, Jackson, do you have anything?
Yeah, I'd just like to add on to that while obviously talent is important, the last time the Royals won the World Series, it was really a huge part of that was the chemistry and the family that they created there. So I'm glad to hear it seems like that's being built up again with these younger guys, and I'm excited to see that.
Oh, 100%. And I definitely think it's going to help, if you bring this 2019, 2020 class in together and you tell them like, hey, be a family. You're going to do this together. We're going to get together. And they do that for 4 years or 3 years. When they get to AA and AAA in the big leagues, they're going to know that the guy next to them is going to have their back rather than, just saying, hey, we want you guys to be a family and not really doing anything about it, not putting us in a position to grow together. But now they're like, hey, live with this person. You should do this with this person. And they kind of pair you up with somebody that you might not know very well. And then you end up knowing that person and you build a friendship that you probably didn't think you were going to have a couple months ago. And now you have it. And now you got another friend and another person you can bond with on and off the field.
John, do you have anything?
I'm pretty much, I got nothing.
And Jackson, just making sure.
No, not for now.
All right.
I know you have something, Josh.
Yes.
So,
So
Nick, God,
Nick, we are starting something new, and you're going to be the first guest. So you should feel very honored, might I say. So this is a question that we've been debating for the past 2 weeks. Who would win in a fight? 30 10-year-olds or Conor McGregor?
30 10-year-olds.
And this is playground rules. So anything goes.
Anything goes.
Yes.
30 10-year-olds.
Yes.
Yeah.
And,
It's tricky.
And here's the thing. Like, we're just gonna say it's an average batch of 10-year-olds.
Yeah.
You like
Average
just find it.
And
Just like-
they have like 2 minutes to
Not-
prepare.
I know some really badass 10-year-olds, but I also know some,
Well, they're
but I
probably
also know
not
some
getting
really,
selected.
really, but I also know some really, really soft 10-year-olds. So this is a tough question. So if I had to just mix it down the middle, dude, 30 kids is a lot of kids.
But it's Conor McGregor.
Yeah,
but
I know,
It's
like-
baffling. It's a hard
it's
one.
a-
I'm not
it's a
gonna
tough
lie.
You
question.
hear that and you think,
I think,
oh yeah.
I think strength in numbers is gonna win this one. I mean, just
Really?
Ooh, he's going with
That's
the
what
30.
I've been saying. I'm saying
See, here's the thing. Here's why I think it's Connor. It's because he's gonna hit one or two of them, and the rest are gonna get frightened.
no,
Like-
they're not. No, it's playground rules. They're not scared, dude. They have to fight.
Yeah, that
I mean,
yeah, we
Mhm.
stated in the
That's
original
fair,
one that
but,
it is
like,
playground rules.
I don't know. It's like you'd have to. I feel like you'd have to strategically go at him because if you just run at him one at a time, you're done.
One
yeah, but if
jump
you
on
put
him.
all 30 on him, he can't.
Exactly.
All 30 of them run on. You said it's playground rules. One of them 10-year-olds kick him in the nuts or something.
That's what I'm saying.
True. You could
Poke
bite
him in
him.
the eye,
That
do something.
yeah.
It's
I mean,
30
these
kids, dude, that's a
these
lot
are
of
all
kids.
true things. Yeah.
Like these kids are probably ready to go. So I mean,
I think the
Connor
strength
better
in
be
numbers
scared.
is this one.
We need to add like a clause to this though. Like they're playing for like $1 billion or something. Because like the
Well,
two
what-
kids getting
Well, I mean, they're
scared
fighting
thing
for
kind of
their
goes
life.
away when there's motivation to
Yeah.
actually beat him.
You either come out of here alive or not. That's your
oh
motivation.
my god.
See, then we were yeah.
Dude, if we're talking
Hey.
life or death, I think these 10-year-olds.
Yeah,
Here's the
I
thing.
think so too.
Morally and ethically, this can never happen. But would it be entertaining? Yes. But that
We've already
maybe
all
it's,
said
maybe
we're
it's,
going. If
maybe
this
a
happens,
simulation. Maybe we'll make a computer
Yeah,
simulation. of
this
it.
is why
Maybe-
we have robots. Like we can actually play this out.
Exactly.
All right,
This is-
plot twist for you guys on your podcast.
All right.
Who is your favorite Royals player since you've been a fan of the Royals?
Mm.
Can be current day, can be
okay, so my current
Has
day, I
not-
already know who it is. Ever since 2015, when Mondesi got called up, there's just been something that's stuck out to me, and like I just won't forget him going up in 2015. Yeah, it was one game, but I just think ever since then, him being the youngest player to start a World Series game just stuck out to me, and I've just been following it ever since.
I like that.
I do love Monty. Mine isn't on the team anymore. Mine was Hosmer. I loved Eric Hosmer. He just played with such a grit and passion for the game, and he honestly, like, I don't know, he just like embodied what it meant to be a Royal.
Yeah, I actually have two. Because I have one from like the really like glory years of the Royals and one from the not so glory years. So my one will be Salvador Perez, just because like
Mhm.
how could you not love Salvador Perez? But my non-glory year guy is actually Jeff Francoeur because he had just a ridiculous arm and it was incredible. He like so many right field to third base guys just caught lacking. So
That's true.
it's great.
Do you even know who that is, Nick?
Jeffrey Cooper?
It's been a
He
while.
played in Atlanta. He played in
he played
Atlanta.
in
That's
Atlanta.
true.
I
He did
was
play
just
in Atlanta.
I was just about to say that. You can't ask me that question. Do
Yeah,
I know
exactly.
That's true.
Come
All
on,
right,
you
but we'll ask you this: who is your favorite Royal fan or favorite Royal player? I guess you can say,
Ooh,
Himself.
That's a tough question.
other than yourself.
Other than myself,
Yeah, we were saying other than you. You're obviously our favorite player.
that is definitely a very tough question.
Okay, do you have a clear Atlanta player?
Andrew Jones.
Andrew Jones.
Andrew
Yeah.
Jones. Yeah.
That was. So me and my dad used to watch baseball all the time. Obviously, when I was younger, but like, he was just free. He was just freakishly like. Obviously, you just looked at him and he was different. The players, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's what
Mm-hmm.
that was kind of my stick to baseball. This dude is good. Like I could probably be that good one day at baseball. Obviously, like, definitely Jones, but that's I don't know. Every time I see a highlight of him or anything, like I'm just like, oh my god, there's Andrew Jones. Like that's probably one of my baseball idols. That's one of the guys that like if I could suit up with just one game, I would 500% just suit up with him.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, I mean we're not much of Braves expertise, but you hear the name, you know it. I mean he's a he was a great baseball player. So yeah, there's that. But yeah, hopefully. Hopefully we get to see a Braves versus Royals World Series sometime soon. I mean,
no, you can't do that to me. Then what am I? What?
what do you mean? What do you
Playing
mean
for
you're
the
gonna do? You're
Royals
on our
against the
team.
Braves, that would be rough.
No, I understand. Can you do this to me? Like, you know what?
That's
Hey,
a lot of pressure, though. We are just putting
You get to go home to Atlanta though for a 7-game series if that happens.
Oh
So
my God, that would be wonderful.
hey,
So
and it's not
we're
far
helping
fetched.
you out
They're
if you think
good.
about it.
They're really good right now. So once we're in the 2020 World Series, like everybody knows we will be, after going 162-0, then we'll see if it happens. It sounds great.
That would
All
be.
right. So before we let you off, you already said you had the Chiefs winning, and you said by 3 touchdowns. But who's your Super Bowl MVP?
Damn, my Super Bowl MVP. Obviously, Mahomes to throw all these touchdowns, but I think it's gonna be Kelsey.
Kelsey, yeah.
I think Kelsey's
Interesting.
gonna. I think
I would
Kelsey's
like
gonna
that.
have 2 touchdowns and like 120 yards.
I would
He's
like
like-
that.
Isn't
I would
Kelsey,
enjoy
like-
that.
Kelsey's got to be like one of the longest tenured Chiefs on this team at this point, which is
Colquitt
crazy because
is number 1 by far.
he's number one, but like he's like the Gordon, like that's who Colquitt is here. He's like the Gordon of the team. He's been through it all, except we got Gordon a ring. Time to get Colquitt a ring.
So football's the same. Football's the same way as baseball. I'm assuming in terms of like if you win a World Series or a Super Bowl, like does your whole team stay? Do they come back? Like how are you going to be able to maintain all these amazing for
Yeah, I mean
years to come?
that is the thing. It's eventually you got to start paying these guys and letting some of them go, just like baseball. So,
Is there a super max in football? Is there a cap?
There is.
There's not a super
after
max.
Patrick Mahomes contract.
Yeah, once Patrick Mahomes gets a $300 million contract, we'll see what happens. But
I'm gonna lose my mind when he gets
$300 million.
I wouldn't put it past it. I mean, is there a player in football right now that deserves a bigger contract than Patrick Mahomes? Not really. So, I mean, probably in the 200s, but maybe he'll get to the 300 mark. But yeah, it's kind of like baseball. There's a cap. There is no max. So
yeah.
Is there a max in baseball?
Yeah.
I think there is. I think so.
Isn't it $30 million a year?
I thought that was basketball.
No, that's basketball, dog.
I don't think baseball has a max.
I don't think baseball has a max either.
I don't think because basketball has the super max, but baseball doesn't really. Because like, look what Carlos Stanton got paid like a couple years back.
Maybe it's just me playing
Miguel Cabrera
too much.
Or who was it this year? Like, didn't Strasburg get like? Garrett Cole
got 12
Garrett
years,
Cole.
$450 million. So Nick, we're expecting $450 for 12 years in the upcoming years.
That's what we expect.
Yeah, man. $450 million.
That's the bar.
Yeah.
That's the bar right there.
And you know, there's there's 4 of us here. You can keep 100, and then you give us the rest.
I mean that'll.
Yeah.
No. Nick can keep 400 of it, and then the 35 million can be split up between
like
us.
449.
Yeah, you can keep like come on, just give us a million.
Just give us a million. Yeah, we'll be good with that.
No, I'll cut you guys to it.
All right. Well, we have it recording, so just to know if you do sign it, we'll be coming back to you.
Yeah, I'll give you a call when you get that 450 mil.
All right.
We're gonna go crazy if that happens.
Hey, we're going out partying that night once you sign that.
I cannot confirm or deny the partying, but I will say that
we'll talk about it.
Yep. All right, I think that's gonna wrap this interview up. Nick, we really appreciate you coming on the podcast again. It's always good talking to you. And if you guys aren't already following Nick, make sure to follow him on Twitter and Heath @Heath We Trust. And isn't that your Instagram handle too?
That is my Instagram handle as well.
All right, so go follow him on Instagram as well. Nick, do you have anything else to say?
No, man. Thank you guys for having me. I enjoyed talking. I can't wait.
For sure, man.
Appreciate you coming on.
All right, and so that will wrap up the interview portion of this podcast, and we'll get right into our Super Bowl preview right after this.